Our very first speaker today is Shiraz Baboo. Now, Shiraz is a multi-award winning author, international speaker, and reality interventionist. I love that. He is known for helping people to rewrite their reality to overcome challenges in their lives. Shiraz has helped thousands of people to overcome illness, poverty, and unconsciously addicted struggles rather. Overall, he is a renowned personality in the area of reality addiction, and his book, How to Rewrite Reality, has changed lives across the globe. Yeah, oh, there we go. There's the book. Fantastic. I'm honored to have worked with Shiraz a little bit, and I look forward to working with him more in the future, but I can absolutely attest to the power of his instinct and his wisdom and his insight. He's really an amazing person to watch work as well as work with. So Shiraz, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Danielle, for having me. I loved the whole concept of this, and I looked at I didn't like look until yesterday or the day before at who else was speaking, and I'm like, damn, she's got some good speakers at this event.
I know, I was kind of surprised everyone said yes. I was like, oh wow, this is a little intimidating. But we got to push ourselves, and it's good to spend. What do they say? You want to surround yourself with people that you want to grow into.
Yeah.
So I'm stoked that you're here, and every one of our speakers is here today. I'm
All
stoked.
right.
So, for those of us in the audience who don't know who you are, can you tell us just a little bit about? We've done the bio, but tell us a bit about you and your business and how you rock and roll.
All right. So I am a reality interventionist, which means I get you out of the addiction to your current life, current struggles, sense of lack, self-worth, and get you addicted to more success, more money, better relationships, even better health. And I primarily work with entrepreneurs that are trying to get to that six-figure mark, and the ones that are just like, I tasted it, but I can't stay there. Those are the people I love to work with, because you're actually getting to a point where you've reached the goal, but gone into withdrawal of your old life and get pulled back. And that's where the addiction comes in. You don't realize you're addicted to your current life. And anyone that goes through yo-yo results, that's you get trying to get out of addiction and going into withdrawal.
That makes so much sense.
Hmm.
That makes so much sense. So, as part of your business plan, you speaking as part of your business plan. So, can you tell us a bit about where speaking fits into your business? Because obviously, you coach people and you help them to overcome
Yep.
these addictions. Where does speaking fit in?
Where does speaking fit in? Probably about 75% of my income comes through speaking to get people into my programs. So, and
It's
yeah, and I
huge.
do multiple six figures a year. I had my first seven-figure sales year just recently, and I'm going to do it again this year. So, but speaking is incredibly important. It's not just speaking; it's knowing how to speak. Because some people think they're good speakers and they're not. And I don't want to say like you think you're all that, but you're not. I used to speak and I would get standing ovations. Right. People like, that was amazing. That what you just did for this audience, I feel so inspired. And people come up to me and it's like, oh my God, that was great. And then I said, and I would talk about, I've got these great programs. They're like, no, I'm good. And then they'd leave. And it feels
Mm.
like you've just been friend zoned.
Totally.
So that's like speaking to inspire. That's wonderful. Speaking to move your business forward takes a different set of skills. You have to talk to the audience in a different way. You've got to hit different points in their psyche to make sure you get that sale. And once I learned to speak properly, like the sales just started happening. Like I remember the first time after working with a speaking coach and getting my talk just down, I'd given it this first talk after that, and I got off the stage and I was headed back to where I was sitting, and I could see my phone and I could see it lighting up, and I thought, who's texting me? Right. And I knew I was online. There was an audience, but I was also online. I'm like, maybe people
Yeah.
saw it. And it was deposits from the thing I just sold on stage. It was like boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, holy crap.
It's working. That's amazing. So you speak about, and I think a couple of speakers are going to speak about today. There's different types of speaking, there's different ways of speaking, there's
Mm,
different ways of building speaking into your business as
mm,
well. You're speaking specifically about speaking to sell,
yes.
which is I think a huge part of a lot of us. That's what we're doing. We're speaking to sell. We're using speaking as part of our marketing.
Mm.
Um, what what do you think is the biggest struggle to get to that point where it clicks, where you're like, oh, this is now it's working?
It's one of the things is stop thinking about what you want to tell and start thinking about what they want to hear. Right? It's very different. And if you are speaking to sell, you're speaking to get people into a certain program. A lot of speakers, I will watch them and they will talk about all the things their program has and what you're going to do in the program. And no one cares. Okay. I'm sorry, they just don't. No one cares. They care what results you can get them.
Mhm.
So when you start talking about your life looks like this now, and it will look like this when you're done this program, then they're like, oh, let's lean in. But if you start talking about, I have a proprietary system that we work each day doing this and this and this, they're like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't care. I really don't care.
Let's go into the weeds over here.
Right? So, and stories are incredibly important, right? Stories are memorable. Stories will create sales for you. I was at an event once, and there was one guy that came up to speak, and this there's just I mean there's so many elements, and we can go on for hours on just what you have to do to talk. But the two people that had spoke before, they told stories that were absolutely compelling,
Mm,
and everyone like to this day I remember those stories and how powerful they were. But they didn't put content that we could use to move forward.
mm,
So it was just like that was an inspiring story. I got nothing to do with you now. I'm just going to move on.
yeah.
He saw this and he said, you know what? I'm going to give you guys content. I'm going to give you stuff that's really going to change your business. And then he started speaking, and I'm taking notes because he's giving all this great information. Now I've got this thing of great information. I don't remember who he is or what he stands for or anything. So I did not connect to him. I connected to the information,
Uh-huh.
but it's not like I will go seek him out to work with him because I don't feel connected to him.
Mm,
Now, then there was a speaker that told stories, was engaging, was entertaining, got us to laugh, got us to choke up, gave value. People are like, I'm working with that person.
mhm,
So,
mhm. It's about bringing all of those different elements together. So
yeah,
we have to connect on a human level. We have to inspire. We have to tell stories, and we have to share value. Because yeah, if we're sharing a nice little complete story, then yeah, there's nothing for our audience to take action on. We want to inspire. Inspiring isn't enough just to kind of go, oh, that's nice. Want to inspire them to something, inspire them to action, inspire them to change. I
yes,
love that. That's beautiful.
yeah. And even if you're doing a paid speaking gig where you don't have to sell anything, you
Mhm.
still want to get them to a point where they take an action, like go
Yeah,
out and be nice to someone or whatever it is. Like
yeah,
if you can't get to a point where they're going to do an action, you still did not do well as a speaker.
I agree.
Yeah.
You just entertain. Well, and not that entertainment isn't valuable, but it's a different thing. Like you want to. I think most of us, people in this audience, definitely, we want to create change somehow. Like we're creating a movement. We want people to buy into our ideas, buy into our programs, but also buy into our ideas, buy into our message,
Yes.
create change somehow, and that takes action. It's
Yes.
not just sitting back and going, "Oh, that was nice." I know,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
I'll go to a comedy club for that. I mean, like,
Yeah, exactly. A nice relaxing evening. That's not what we're out to do. We're out to disrupt things. We're out to shake things up. So what is your big, like, did you have, when you started out, did you think that you would end up here? Like what was your kind of path to getting to where you are today?
um, that's a weird question for me. My journey hasn't been the same as most people because I started my business on a bet.
I love it. See, there's all types of businesses out there. This is excellent.
Yeah. I was using the techniques I use called energetic magic on friends and family, and someone said, people will pay you for this. And I'm like, no, this is just a hobby. This is a thing I'm trying out. Like, no, and my friend's like, people will pay you for this. So I said, you know what? I'm going to start charging $100 an hour for my service, which I thought was a lot of money at the time.
Yeah.
And people started paying it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a business. Right. So, and then I started to just fall in love with the transformations people were having and just left my old career behind and started doing this and I haven't looked back.
I love that. It was something that was already part of your life,
Mhm.
and you just found a way to make it more part of your life and
Right.
make that into something that sustained you. How long did it take you to get to where you felt like this is it? I'm I've arrived.
I don't even think I've arrived. Right?
Well,
So,
arrived at the lowest bar.
the lowest part.
They
Um,
always say it takes 10 years to make an overnight success, and I'm always testing that theory.
yeah, and if you have coaches at the beginning, you shorten that timeline
100%.
dramatically.
Mhm.
For me, I did not have coaches. I would hold workshops, and I would give value in the workshops. However, I would get 0 to 4 people coming up for a workshop, right?
Mhm.
And I was trying different locations around the city, and there was nothing I could figure out to actually get people engaged until one of my friends, um, I worked on her because she was having a bad night. And I said, "Can I just do what I do?" And she goes, "I don't even know what you do." Right? So I did it, and the next week when we got together, she's like, "What the hell did you do to me?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she goes, "I've been trying to finish my divorce for 2 years. You did that thing to me, and it was done in 2 days." Right? And I'm like, "That's what I do." Right? So she goes, "More people need to hear about you." And I'm like, "Yeah, thanks. Trying that, not working." She goes, "But I'm an event coordinator. I will put the stage together. I will get the people in the room. You just get up and speak."
Excellent.
All right. And suddenly I had 30, 40 people in the room and then up to 100 people in the room. And I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Mhm.
And one of the big lessons there, don't go it alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't go it alone. And if you haven't found the right person, just keep helping people because, when you're doing your thing, like
Mhm.
you said, you helped a friend and it happened that they could help you. And so, don't give up if you feel like, oh, I'm just helping one or two people at a time. I
Mhm.
think you never know when that one person that you help is going to be the right person to
Yeah.
to kind of just explode your business because
Yeah. And
a little bit of it I think is about being in the right place at the right time. I mean, there's an element to that. We just got to be prepared for when
it's
opportunity comes by.
and it's a combination because I was in the
Mm.
right place at the right time with her week after week after week. But my mindset didn't say event coordinator,
Right.
put on an event. It's just like, oh, she does weddings and she does corporate stuff. Like that's not me. I'm like, no, it's still an event. Like, and I hang
Yeah,
out with her
absolutely.
every week.
It's funny how sometimes these things are right in front of our face.
Yeah.
We just don't see them. I love that. I love that so much. So, what do you think? What would you suggest for folks who are feeling a little bit, I want to speak, but I'm scared. Shiraz is so great. I don't know if I can do it. Folks who are just starting out and feeling maybe a little bit doubtful or a little bit nervous about building speaking into their business. What kind of advice would you give those people?
Speak. Right. Because that's how you're going to get over the fear.
Mm.
And if you can start off, one of the easiest ways is start off an interview situation because now you're just having a conversation. You're not up on stage. And when you start to get your talk ready and you start writing it out, you can try different sections of it while you're being interviewed on a summit, on a podcast, and see how the host reacts to it. And things that work, you're like, oh, keep that part. Right. And then just build it up until you're set and you're like, you know what? I'm going to go up, I'm going to speak. I'm just going to be me on the stage and do that talk. But I did interviews on summits for a couple of years, and that still led to sales. I didn't have to go speak on my own. And once I started getting actual speaker training, I'm like, we got this. Because I mean, I know I could speak on stage. I knew I couldn't sell from stage. I
Mm.
couldn't close. I could inspire people, but that's not going to put money in my pocket.
Mhm.
And now that I can inspire from and sell and give value from stage, it's just blown up my business. Like to to get less than a couple $100,000 a year would
Mm.
make me upset at this point. And it's all through speaking, right?
That is a nice place to be. So what do you think? What do you think it is about speaking? I mean, I know and you know that it's the most, it's the most effective, it's the most efficient way. Why do you think that is? There's so many different types of marketing out there. What is it about speaking that's so special?
Because people feel you're talking to them,
Mhm,
right? And that's really important when you're on stage is to talk to one person, right?
mhm,
It makes a difference. If you're saying, you know how people, then there's less of a connection. You know how you sometimes think, and then people, oh crap, it's talking to me, right? Right. So when you start learning these little techniques, I remember when one of my coaches said, um, imagine when you're writing your speech, imagine there's a single person in front of you and talk to them.
mhm,
Because you watch some of the speakers and when they say things like, how many people here do this? Right. If you're talking to a single person, when you say how many people here, and it's like their brain doesn't know how to process that on a one-to-one level. Right. Raise your hand if you, oh, okay, now you're talking to me.
mhm,
Right. And this is how you can really connect with your audience because it's not you speaking to a bunch of people, it's you having a dozen simultaneous or hundreds or thousands of simultaneous one-on-one conversations where everyone feels heard. And that
mhm,
leads to connection, which leads to sales.
mhm. Yeah, I agree. I do think it's the connection. And you see those speakers, you just they kind of gloss out the audience, especially in person.
Mm,
They kind of gloss out the audience because they're trying to talk to everyone all at once, and you can feel that disconnect of,
yeah,
they're not really here, they're not really present. Where when you're connecting with someone, I feel it's almost easier to do online because you only have one lens.
yeah.
That lens is reaching potentially hundreds of thousands of people, but you only have one lens to look at, and I think kind of it kind of underscores that need for that personal connection.
Oh, in person, what I do, and I guess I do a little bit of this online too,
Uh-huh.
but in person, when I'm scanning the audience, I look for those people that are really engaged and I make sure I connect because like they're engaged. And I see some speakers, they're looking for people that are disinterested and trying to win them over, and that's futile, right? What you want to do is see the people that are really enjoying your talk, focus in on them, connect with them, because that's going to spread out from those people to hit the rest of the audience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And because they feed you and then you feed them and then everyone else kind of gets swept up in this energy.
Yes.
Whereas you don't want to ignore if there were people out there who are like smiling and nodding and you're ignoring them to spend time with the one person who's on their phone,
Mhm.
then everyone else feels kind of neglected
Yeah.
as well, which is it's the wrong way around, I think, as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, absolutely. So, I have a 3-day event coming up next week on
Mhm.
how to build speaking confidence for those of you who are listening to Shiraz and being like, wow, he's amazing. I want to do that. Awesome. For those of you who are just starting out in your speaking career, that's what the Ignite True Speaking Confidence event is about next week, May 20th to 22nd. And Shiraz has very generously uh, he's pledging a gift. So not everyone gets this. Everyone who comes to the 3-day event and attends 80% or more of the event, because you got to show up, you got to be there, you got to do the work. You can't just sit back and go, "Oh, they're going to do breakout groups now. I'm just going to disappear." You can't do that. You got to be present, you got to play, you got to playful out, you got to interact, do the work, and I'll be gentle, don't worry. But if you do that, then you get this gift from Shiraz, which is absolutely amazing. Can you tell us about this gift?
So each month I do a workshop called Refuel Your Ambitions. It's a 3-hour workshop. And in it, I coach people on what's holding them back in their ambitions. We get you to a place where you're just ready to go. You're feeling empowered. We're pulling out beliefs during the event, and I'm working on people directly. It's not like I'm giving a talk. I'm coaching people individually right in this workshop to get transformations happening. It's a $500 workshop, and you get it just for attending 80% of the event.
You get paid $500 workshop for attending a 3-day workshop, which is also really cool. So come to that. Here is I'm throwing the link in the chat. Please do come out. The 3-day workshop is only $47. So you're getting way more than your money back. There's a really good ROI on this investment. Um, and we're going to wrap up in a couple of minutes. But before we do, I have two more questions for you, Shiraz.
Mhm.
One is, what do you think is the biggest struggle for folks, and like not the biggest struggle but like the biggest myth struggle? What is the biggest lie that we tell ourselves that stops us from becoming speakers and getting on stage? What do you think that is?
My story is not important enough, not big enough. Right. I remember I was in a workshop with Forbes Riley, and she told her story of what she went through before she became Forbes Riley. And I compared my story to hers, and I'm like, no one's going to want to listen to my like, come on. After all of that, holy crap. Uh, but your story is going to resonate with your audience. And people hear my story and like, oh my God, that's great. And it hits with different people in different ways. So there's always going to be someone that wants to hear what you have to say. And I like to do the math. I'd say, let's say 99.999% of the people in the world don't want to hear your story, don't give a crap about you. Okay. But 0.00001% do, right? I'm trying to do the math here.
Yeah.
That's 800,000 people, right? Do you think you could do well if 800,000 people want to work with you?
Right?
Right?
You don't have to be for everyone.
No.
It's so true. It's so true. And I love that everyone has something, you may not find your story important because it's very close to you and you kind of live with it every day,
Mhm.
but everyone relates to a human in a different way. And as long as it's real, as long as it's earnest and it's true and it's connected, I think we think, oh, that's too mundane. It's not jazzy enough. It's not like, oh, I didn't, nearly die. I didn't have this near death experience. It doesn't matter as long as it's relatable and it's something that people can get a sense of who you are and that you care about them. I think that's almost more important is the humanness of the story, not
Yeah.
necessarily the drama of
Yeah.
the story, but the humanness of the story and the relatability. Absolutely. Well, Shiraz, I just want to talk to you forever, but unfortunately, fortunately, I have lots of other speakers lined up, which is really exciting. So, as far as a piece of like a nugget of golden advice, your absolute kind of secret to speaker success, you've already given us so much. I think. Let's see if we can. I remember. Talk to just one person. Make sure that you're inspiring people to action and not just telling them a nice little story. Focus on the movement of the call to action movement to sell or to action at some point, and your story is great.
Mhm.
It doesn't need to be all jazz hands and bombs exploding.
Yeah.
What is your and also just get out there and do it because you never know. Just keep at it. What would be your kind of final encapsulating? This is the secret to speaker success, or this is the best piece of advice I can give you at the beginning of your speaking career. What would that be?
Don't try to be something you're not. Don't try to like build this persona. The thing that's going to sell is you being authentically you. And there's zero effort in being you. There's a lot of effort in trying to create a persona. And so if you want people to connect to you and you want things to be easy, get up on stage and be you.
Oh, I love that so much. Thank you so much, Shiraz. This has been absolutely amazing. Folks, do sign up for my 3-day coming up next week, but also work with Shiraz. He is so wise and insightful and really powerful in what he does. Will help you break through your blocks and get to that next level. Get addicted to that healthy, wonderful success that you want to live. Thank you so much, Shiraz, for being here. I'm so super excited and thank you for the gift.